What's going on, car family? I'm Ben Wayne, and thank you for joining me in another video. Today, we're testing another EV crossover. Right, another EV crossover and the long line of current EV crossovers that we're seeing. This is the 2023 Kia EV6 GT model. Now that GT makes all the difference because what this is an EV that's cranking out 576 horsepower, 554 pound-feet of torque. It has a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery, 0 to 60 in just 3.2 seconds. This is a dual motor setup, right? And it even has a drift mode. So what is the EV6 competing against? Well, it's competing against the likes of the Tesla Model Y or the Mustang Mach-E, right? But to me, this car looks significantly better. Teslas kind of look like a blob, in my opinion, and the Mustang Mach-E, quite frankly, I understand why they did the naming convention for that, but it's not a Mustang, right? So this looks a little bit cooler, a little bit more futuristic than those vehicles. So Kia stepped up to the plate to give you a high-performance vehicle, and they certainly delivered because the acceleration in this car will just rip your face off, right? So I'll dip into the throttle just a little bit here, and it just throws you back into the seat. But typical of EVs, that acceleration is very smooth, even though it's very harsh at the same time, if you know what I mean. So it just is able to accelerate with ease because of all that instantaneous torque it's able to provide. So let's start the review after another quick pull. Let's start off the review by talking about the car's exterior. I'm gonna drop my foot on the accelerator real quick. And this thing just teleports you into tomorrow. It's insane. So let's start with the exterior look. Starting up front, I love the curvaceous design of this vehicle. Again, very sleek, modern, and futuristic at the same time without doing too much. The LED headlamps, of course, are standard on a vehicle like this. And of course, you have LED daytime running lamps that look like none other on the market, period. So I like the unique styling of that. You have a mini slit to simulate what would be a grille, but on the lower front fascia, you have active shutters that open for cooling of that battery. So I love the design there. Now, underneath the hood, what you have is a box that simply says EV on it. And that box provides enough storage for about a toothbrush and maybe some toothpaste. But it's probably there just for your charging accessories, right? But it's located underneath the front hood, along with other components such as your windshield washer fluid and all that stuff. But I just wanted to let you guys know what's underneath there. So, speaking of your charging accessories, let's go ahead and talk about the charging capability. Now, if you connect this vehicle up to a DC fast charger, which I've done, you can get from about 10% to 80% in just about 18 minutes or so. That is insane fast charging capability. Now, for this model, I will say, if you're into road trips, this is not the most efficient EV6 model. Your mileage on the EV6 GT is about 206 miles, right? And that's on its best day. It's not the most efficient EV6 model. There are other EV6 models that get up to 310 miles of range. So I'm just putting that out there. But if you want something that's fun and exhilarating and provides tons of performance, and you're going on short drives around town, then this is also a good car to look at, right? Nobody's really buying an EV right now for long road trips, so I'm not really going to dock it that hard for its 206-mile range, especially when it's doing 0 to 60 in about 3.2 seconds, which is absolutely just insane. And it's just, oh, man, I can't get enough of those acceleration bursts. So coming over to the side profile, we have huge 21-inch wheels that are directional. They're machined. And behind those front wheels, we have large 15-inch brake rotors as well. Now, the rear gets a treatment of 14-inch brake rotors. But overall, it just provides a stance that the other EV6 models simply don't have. You have gloss black side view mirrors. And I also like what they've done with the lines of the car. So starting with the front fascia into the wheels, you'll see the lines carried throughout. And on the lower portion of the side profile, you have black accents that go around nicely towards the rear. So the styling was really thought through. How can we make these lines flow gracefully from the front of the vehicle, the side of the vehicle, to the rear of the vehicle? Now I get it, the design language of this vehicle doesn't meet everyone's taste. That's fine. No car does. But you can truly see that Kia went out their way to make the lines kind of flow, right? So they're getting the most out of this platform. This shares the same platform as the Hyundai Ioniq 5, as I'm sure some of you might have guessed. Now, coming towards the rear, you'll notice it has a truly unique design. It stands out. It's almost like a flat panel wrapped in a light bar. It's just unlike anything I've ever seen. So you have a light bar that helps pronounce the width of the vehicle, and it's a curvaceous light band as well. So it's not just simply a horizontal line. It flows throughout, and it just really accents the car extremely well. Now, carrying on, that line also comes to the back, to the rear quarter panel, that side profile, and it goes straight through the rear wheel into that gloss black panel that I mentioned before on the side panel. So that line just, it's an uninterrupted line, and I really appreciate it when automotive designers incorporated those lines that just flow, that have all the freedom in the world along the body of the vehicle. So that deserves some acknowledgement. Of course, you have Kia's new badge on the back there that stands out loud and proud. And coming lower, you do have a functional rear diffuser as well. Now, what you might not notice is how well the charging panel has been hidden in the vehicle's design. It's not some huge panel that sits on the side of the vehicle. It's actually hidden on the back, and it's powered. So you can either open it using the button here, located to the left of the steering wheel, or tap on it and it will open back there. So that's your charging point. And I had no problems when I was charging this car accessing it or worrying about, which side it's on. It's located in a great area where you just back in and charge, or you could pull forward and charge, based on how these charging stations are being designed. So I like that there. Now you open the hatch, of course you're going to get plenty of storage capability. Now I will note, due to the sloped line of that hatch, it's going to eat in towards the storage capability on the rearmost portion of the vehicle, right? So the further you go in, the deeper it is because it has more height. So some of the competitors like the Mach-E might have better storage capability, but again, in my opinion, this car looks better than that. All right, let's press the GT button, and that just really cranks up the acceleration. It just throws as much power into those motors as possible. There's a significant difference when you're on the accelerator when you're in GT mode, so don't sneeze when you're on it. All right, so let's talk about this car's handling. So I feel nice and in control. The brakes are nice and responsive. It's able to help keep the power in check. These EVs are really heavy vehicles, so you do have to have beefy brakes. Not too much body roll on the curves here. It feels nice and planted, and I really love that about this vehicle. Now, the ride itself, of course, I'm hearing those whirring noises that EVs make. I wish we could do something about that. That's like one of my only pet peeves about EVs sometimes. Not all of them have it, but some of them do. The ride quality is nice and smooth, nicer than I thought it would be on 21-inch wheels with summer tires, but it is really nice. So let me go ahead and let the car brake a little bit. I'm in GT mode. I gotta hit the accelerator again. This is just insane, the amount of acceleration this car has. This is probably the fastest EV I've ever driven. It's just blisteringly quick. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the interior. So the interior matches the vehicle's exterior, meaning that it looks extremely futuristic, right? You do have dual 12.3-inch displays here, but they've been incorporated in one seamless, uninterrupted panel. Coming over to the side, on the passenger side, the dash has these flowing lines throughout. And it goes all the way onto the driver's side as well, right? Coming lower, we do have two air conditioning vents, and then you do have an LED light band here underneath the AC vents. You can't change the color, but I just wanted to note that you do have some blue lines that are illuminated here, which is interesting. Now, coming to the air conditioning controls, I'm going to be honest here. I'm not a fan of this setup at all, because what you have here is a setup for your radio, your stereo system, and whatnot, but it's also shared with your air conditioning controls. So you have to push this button and it changes the entire panel, right? So even the knobs change the temperature when that button is pressed, but then it'll go back to your stereo control. So that knob that controls the temperature is now the volume knob. So everything is shared. You don't have them both at the same time. It's either one or the other, and that can be a little bit frustrating when behind the wheel, and it's not the safest setup. Also, again, it's a touch panel. There are no physical buttons here whatsoever. So you really have to know what you're doing when you're accessing this panel. Just to get to the air conditioning setting, I get a little bit of anxiety. So that's my only gripe really about the interior. Coming further back, we do have controls for the heated seats and the heated steering wheel, which works particularly well. I do wish that there were some ventilated seats in this vehicle. And then of course we do have the on-off switch here, as well as a rotary knob for your reverse, neutral, drive, and park settings. We do have two cup holders here, and then the center console kind of has this floating theme to it, again, which is futuristic and modern. So there is a second level here for more storage. You do have USB-A and USB-C ports there as well, and a 12-volt outlet and another USB port as well. So 3 USB ports down there, a 12-volt power outlet, and storage. Now, coming further back, we do have wireless charging that has ventilation in it to keep your phone cool, keeps it from overheating. And then we have additional storage here as well. So your storage and your ports, they got you covered. Now, coming to the seats, I'm sure you guys noticed that right off the bat. These are the sport bucket seats. Once you see these seats, you already know that you're in for a ride. Look at how aggressive the side bolstering is, right? It's almost like you're in a race car of some sort, because that's the type of handling this car has with this acceleration. So I love how the seats have been done. You have a Alcantara center. You have lime contrast stitching, lime piping on the sides as well, and then GT branding on the silver accents of the seats as well. So that's been done extremely well. Let you know what this car is about. Oh, this car, the acceleration is just insane. You really have to try this car, guys, to just be able to grasp the violent acceleration that this car is capable of providing you with. The steering wheel, flat bottom, lime green accents throughout. You have the lime green GT button. You can't miss it. Behind the steering wheel, we do have 2 metal paddles for your regen braking, so it's adjustable, right? So you can put it on the most aggressive setting, and that helps bring the car to a stop, right? I wouldn't rely on it for one pedal driving, but you get the picture. Behind the steering wheel, I do have a 12.3-inch thin film transistor display, which takes advantage of the car's camera system. If I put on the turning signal, it will display what's in my blind spot, and I've covered that plenty of times in Hyundai and Kia vehicles. Like I said before, every car should have that, right? Take advantage of the technology. It's 2023. Every car should have this. Now, coming back up to the infotainment system, this does have Apple CarPlay, but it is not wireless. I wish they would go ahead and incorporate wireless in these systems here, but it is fairly easy to use. Now, I will say at first glance, it looks like you have a bunch of apps on here, which you do, but it takes just a little bit to get used to it. Within a couple days, you'll know what you're doing. Coming towards the back, we do have plenty of legroom for the rear occupants. You have 2 USB ports as well, and you have air conditioning vents located on the pillar. The seating is quite comfortable and spacious. This is an EV, so you have a little bit more flexibility than you would in a traditional vehicle. Now, we'll make mention that the rear occupants do not have controls for their own air conditioning, right? That's all adjusted up here. but they do have rear vents. The door panels in this vehicle, you have gloss black accents, silver door handles, and of course Alcantara on the sides there, and controls for all four windows. The storage in the door panels isn't really that great. That's not a deal breaker. And you do have a silver speaker grille up front. They're black in the back. I just like the overall design of the interior of this vehicle. It's really nice. Now, of course, you do have a large sunroof in this vehicle, almost a panoramic roof size. It's oversized, but it's a sunroof, all the same. So what are we looking at price-wise for this vehicle? As shown, this one is $62,000, but that is on par with some of the other models, the dual motor EVs that are currently on the market, right? It's a lot of money, but it's also a lot of performance. This is something that if you play your cards right, you would be able to afford this without paying $120,000, something completely unreasonable. So Kia is truly stepping their game up. When I first saw this car on the street, I was taken aback because I haven't seen anything that looks like this personally. So I was like, wow, I need to review it, and here I am. So the looks, whether you like it or not, they are captivating. It's going to get your attention. The performance is absolutely insane, and it's even crazier if you have a passenger in this vehicle who has no idea what this is or no idea what to expect, right? You will absolutely blow them away with the performance of this vehicle. But overall, this is a vehicle where you can look at it and appreciate the design that was put into it. From the rear diffuser to the opening and closing vents for the front fascia to keep the battery cool, the unique styling of the LED daytime running lamps. You even have the rear spoiler on top of the hatch. Just everything about it, the way the charging panel has been hidden, everything about it says that there was some time put into the design of this car. And you ask me, Kia knocked it out of the park on this vehicle. Let me know what your thoughts are on this one. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next time, I'm Ben Wayne, the automotive reviewer that YouTube deserves. I'll catch you guys in the next one.